All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, very excited to be talking to this individual ahead of quite the intriguing fight at PFL Pittsburgh, which goes down on March the 28th. Alexei Pergande taking on Julio Arce, and very excited to have Alexei on the program today to talk about his journey in the PFL, which has been quite interesting to follow along with. But first off, how are you doing, man?
Doing amazing, man. Yeah, training's going well. Weight cut's going great. Preparation has been amazing so far. So yeah, I'm really ready for March 28th in Pittsburgh. It's gonna be a good night.
And it's just a cool journey because this seems like one of the bigger events that PFL has done. I mean, really so far in the company's tenure. And I would think that would be cool for someone like you who's fought your entire pro career under, that PFL banner from Challenger Series to where you're at now, like in that rankings mix. So I would imagine this would be like a very exciting journey and exciting card, etc.
No, this is actually such an amazing card. Like, so good. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people tuning into this card. I mean, we got Brian Battle in there. We got my teammate Impa Kasanganay versus Dalton Russell. Like, it's just gonna be a great card in general. And then myself and Arce, it's such a big. I feel like that's gonna be a sleeper fight. But yeah, a lot of great fights on that card, and it's just gonna be exciting. I feel like a lot of people are going to show up for that, and yeah, I just can't wait for that. And it's been amazing, like growing with the PFL and seeing how many different changes there's been, and all of these changes have been going in the right direction, which I'm very glad about. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes this year and how this new style is going to go.
Yeah, do you think it ultimately has, I guess, shifted in a more productive kind of direction? It would seem like there's been some, I guess, amendments made that have, paid dividends and seems like it's going in a good direction. Is that sort of how you're feeling with like the current of everything?
100%. I feel like they've been making only good decisions. I've been seeing, I'm not going to mention all of them because it might be a little bit controversial, but there's been a lot of really good decisions that I feel like they've made. And even though Don Davis has, stepped down, I know he's built this the promotion from day one. He's done such a good job at it, but I feel like now it's gone to a hands of John Martin, and he's doing a really good job. I'm just managing the whole thing and making decisions. And I've liked everything I've seen so far, all the news and the new changes. So I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And I guess you kind of talk about certain things you'd like to actualize into reality this year. Like, obviously, this fight is squarely in your focuses, but like, what does that look like for you? Like, what is, I guess, how would you like to author this story in 2026?
I mean, I've been saying this. I've been manifesting this since 2024. When I in 2024, I've been saying like, hey, 2026 is gonna be my year. Back then, I was saying I'm gonna be in the tournament at 2026, and I was already projected to be in the tournament by, I already had that like deal ready and at the end of last year. They were like, okay, yeah, we're ready for you to step into the tournament. So I was already there. So I basically manifested my goals and aspirations of having that, step up into the tournament in 2026. And yeah, I manifested this whole journey, all of this, and it's just been such a great ride. And I've mentally, physically, emotionally, I'm just prepared for this moment and taken a bigger fight against a really respected UFC veteran. I'm so excited for this, man. I couldn't be any more excited.
And it's interesting because some of the headlines that I've seen from you in the last like couple of years kind of touches on some of the component that you just touched on in a way, like the desire to enter the tournament field. I want to shake like the prospect label, certain derivatives in that kind of regard. Like I feel like this fight would really serve that kind of master, like in terms of, getting beyond that prospect tag and people being like, oh, that was a great showing against like a stalwart kind of veteran fighter on the circuit. Like, is that how you're kind of looking at it as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this fight's going to be I feel like I have a point to prove almost in this fight that, the younger generation is here, and we're here to stay. This is the new generation that's coming up, and we're not any worse than the old heads. But it's gonna be a great night, and I just cannot wait to showcase all of my skills. And I know how well rounded he is. I'm not looking over him or anything like that. I know how well rounded he's very, very high IQ, smart fighter, but I am as well. But I do believe I have just a little bit more skill than he does in basically all aspects and areas of the game. So I'm very excited to show that on March 28th.
And it's kind of interesting. I'd be curious to maybe see what you meant by that because you were kind of talking about like the older guard fighters and the young fighters on the come up. It seems like in recent times, some people have been mentioning the sentiment, like more so at lightweight, I would say, to be fair, but this idea of like the older veteran kind of, I don't want to say gatekeeper per se, but like the tenured kind of fighters in the division are kind of really holding that gate. And some of the younger prospects just don't maybe quite have that technique refinement piece for some reason. Were you almost kind of talking about that sort of bit of discourse that's been out there recently in a way?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's not. I'm not gonna be talking bad about the older generation as well. I mean, like I said, they're all very, very solid. Like they've been in the game for so long. They're so much more comfortable in the cage than most of the younger guys, which is why you see a lot of the older generation guys. For example, like my teammate, like Michael Johnson, he just had a really amazing performance against Daniel Zolber. So it was kind of like an older generation guy versus a younger generation guy. And Michael Johnson came out there and he absolutely pieced Daniel Zolber up. And I still know how dangerous they are, so I'm not going to be like, oh, they're trash or whatever. No, that's not it. Very, very well rounded, especially Julio in all aspects of the game. I know he's good at grappling. I know he's good at striking, boxing, and he's just a game opponent in general. But yeah, I'm not like I said, I'm not overlooking him. I'm just saying that I'm here and I'm here to stay.
No, of course, man. It seems like you're really pouring into it in that kind of way for sure. And you love to see that. And I guess just speaking to, I guess, some of the, I guess, components that the younger generation fighters have. And I mean, obviously anyone does to an extent, but like, I feel like the TikTok piece of what you've done is kind of cool, just insofar as like, at first you were kind of at first like, I don't really know about this. But then you, I guess, tailored it to kind of like your voice and what you wanted to put out there. And it seems like you really made big strides with that in terms of like how it can benefit your career prospects and stuff like that. So something to be said about that piece, just like adapting the perspective and I guess utilizing it to your benefit.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like social media is very underutilized, especially for fighters. And going back to the older generation of people, I feel like they kind of overlooked social media in a way of a lot of the older fighters are like, oh well, I'm only gonna fight and I'm not gonna post anything on social media. Like I'm only gonna have the fans coming in from my fights and how good of a fighter I am or how exciting of a fighter I am. But I feel like nowadays that's not even like, as a fighter coming up, and I've been telling this and trying to preach this as much as possible to the younger generation coming up. Social media is so powerful, man. Like you can have so much more push as a fighter for contracts, for negotiations, for just anything in general because of your social media and how much presence you have on there and how much fans actually connect with you. Because a fan's going to be like, well, I've been keeping up with this guy since he was you know just starting up on TikTok 2 years ago. He had one pro fight and now he's 7-0 in the PFL fighting some of the biggest names. And those people are like the die-hard loyal fans now. And they'll be buying your tickets, they'll be giving you the views, they'll be they're there for you. And just having a social media presence in general, I feel like nowadays is just so important. And I'm trying to promote that to all the fighters coming up, even like all my teammates at Kill Clip, even the older guys. I'm like, hey, you got to hop on TikTok, you got to start posting on there, because it's only going to make you so much bigger as an athlete. And after you're done with your career, people are still going to want to connect with you. Be like, hey, I've been watching this guy for so long. And it's going to help you even after your career if you want to start a business or start whatever you want. It's just so powerful.
Yeah, you're giving them the social media advice after putting the tornado on them. I was seeing some of your sparring partners liken sparring you to what it feels like to be in a tornado, or what they would imagine that to feel like.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just a crazy guy. Like inspiring, dude. You don't know what to expect from me. I'll just go out there and I'll throw something. It's not always gonna land, but I'll throw it.
And I'm curious because a team like Killcliff is obviously, such a deep, global roster of fighters, just really, people in all of the big leagues and etc. Like, I wonder how much you, I guess, specifically curate your work to say, I guess, fighting people who are mirroring the attributes of Julio Arce versus your, I guess, training just being about your individual skill refinement just to show up and be adaptable with whatever could happen in the fight, if that distinction in approach makes sense.
Yeah, no, I've had a few partners already step up and help me. And there's been like I think like 3 or 4 of my teammates have either really close, I mean they know Julio, they've have good connections with him. They're like almost good friends with him. And then I've had also teammates that are just helping me in the style wise in general, the southpaw and all that. And just mimicking his style and his game. So yeah, no, I've had my guy Simpson, but he's been stepping up. Jared Gordon's been stepping up. I've had a few others. I'm not gonna name everyone, but there's a lot of people that stepped up and helped me throughout this fight camp, just with that style and those same kind of like attributes that Julio's going to bring on March 28th.
Yeah, I feel like the visualization piece can be a pretty strong one for different fighters. Like some people have that reoccurring visualization of, I mean, specific moments in the fight, but even relative to the ending. Like, do you have a particular visualization for how this fight is going to wrap up?
Yeah, I most certainly do, but I've been fighting long enough to know that not everything's going to go the way you imagined, the way you planned, but the best thing you can do is obviously prepare your mind and visualize, how everything from being backstage to you walking out to that cage to you starting that first round. And yeah, it's good to have things, almost like, okay, well, yeah, I want this to happen, but I'm not going to be fixated on just having that one certain thing happen. I guess there's multiple things and multiple openings that I have to go into and adapt to in the fight, because obviously I feel like everyone adapts differently. Obviously he's watching my film, I'm watching his film, and then we go out there and we're like, oh whoa, this isn't the same guy that I watched on film. So it's like, you have to be ready for everything in this fight game. So I don't really take those things like, okay, I'm only doing this and this is my exact game plan. I'm a very adaptive fighter. And wherever the fight goes, I'm going to be able to adapt and I'm going to be able to progress and end up on top.
No, for sure. And I feel like you have that, I guess, multiplicity of technique in your game, like insofar as like the striking is there, the submissions are there. So yeah, I guess you don't want to be too rigid in whatever the approach is. And I guess to the point of well-roundedness and I guess the partisan alignment piece, being a fellow Canadian, I thought it was cool that George St. Pierre really got you into the sport as well. So that was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, he was one of those guys like in the beginning of he was like a role model, I'd say, like in the beginning, just like even though I've never met him or anything like that, just watching him on TV, how humble and respectful and how the way he fought and the amount of IQ that he displayed in his fights. It was just truly incredible watching a guy like that like have the success that he did, because you don't always see like the nice humble guys, especially nowadays, getting those title shots and becoming amazing, champions of the world. And he was one of those guys that did it, and he was one of those guys that dominated in his time. And yeah, man, I love GSP. Yeah, very, very, very big fan of him.
Yeah, he dominated in his time, and now it's your time, man. And I really appreciate the time. Yeah, I really appreciate the time today as well. But figured I'd give you the floor if you had any final parting thought you maybe wanted to add, man.
No, just make sure you guys tune in March 28th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's going to be such an exciting card, from top to bottom of that card. It's going to be such a great night. So yeah, make sure you come out there, you get your tickets, or you watch it online on ESPN too. It's going to be an amazing night, and don't miss it.
It's going to be a great fight against Julio Arce, one I was excited for before speaking to you, but very much, elevated to that next level, man. So super stoked to check out that PFL Pittsburgh fight. And thank you for the time again to reiterate. And yeah, all the best. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Hey, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate the interview.